Hello again out there. Welcome back to our Meet the Candidates interviews for the general election. I'm Memphis Medical Society CEO Clint Cummins. I'm joined today by Dr. George Woodbury, a dermatologist here in Memphis and the legislative chairman of our organization. Thanks, Dr. Woodbury.
Thanks.
Our next candidate guest is Representative John DeBerry, coming to us from District 90. Mr. DeBerry, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to get right to the questions and try to get you in and out of here soon.
Okay.
So Governor Lee over the summer issued Executive Order number 15. Among the provisions in that include the ability for nurse practitioners to practice with autonomy. What's your position on the expansion of scope of practice for non-physician providers such as nurse practitioners and physician assistants?
Well, I'm very happy for the fact that we have such skilled nurse practitioners and physician assistants and other professional and allied health professionals. But a position I have held since I was there and first took office in 1995 is that while I think that we have provided scope of practice provisions for them over the years, the fact still is they are not physicians. I am comfortable with the fact that, and this is just me. I did not research what your position was in order to give my answer. This is the answer I have given for the entire time I have been in the legislature. They're not physicians. And while I believe that they most certainly serve a purpose, and especially in rural and underserved areas, and I know that they are very well trained, very skilled, but here again, they're not physicians. So I'm not comfortable with allowing folks to practice medicine who are not physicians, who are not doctors. I believe that especially the limited oversight that is required by the law should be maintained. That is my position, and it has consistently been my position.
All right, thank you. We're going to keep moving on to the next question. So there's a lot of difficult decisions being made today. It started at the beginning of COVID and has continued on, that are forcing, business owners, parents, policymakers, all sorts of people to balance physical health and community health with that desire to get back to business. Can you talk about your thought process when you're faced with those kinds of challenges?
You mean what I am personally faced, or I am faced with those issues from constituents?
I would say constituent angle.
Well, I know that we have a health crisis on our hands, and we have to depend upon our physicians, our researchers, and health professionals to kind of guide us through this. I am concerned, of course, about the economy and the mom and pops, the businesses that are affected. I'm concerned about us getting back to normalcy and us getting back to where we can do business. I think that it should be measured. It should be well thought out. It should be there should be contribution from all stakeholders to make those type of decisions. I don't see how we can just do it by decree or just by legislation without those who have a superior knowledge of the virus, of the sickness, of its progression, of where we are with a vaccine. I think that all of those should be taken into consideration.
All right. On a kind of similar note, due to COVID and just the overall revenue shortfalls for the state, we're obviously going to be, faced with some hard decisions about how to handle these revenue decreases and face some inevitable cuts. how do you prioritize those cuts, and would you cut healthcare spending?
Well, I don't see how we can, since this is a healthcare crisis. I don't see how we can cut healthcare spending. I think that we have to make priorities on those fluff issues. Every year, all of us know there are certain things in the budget that are good, that are good for the citizens, that contribute to the well-being of Tennesseans and possibly our attractiveness to folks who might bring business into the state. But at the same time, we've got to get past this crisis. We've got to get past this pandemic. We've got to get to a place, a safe place, where we can honestly say that it is safe to do business in Tennessee, because we have this medical crisis in hand. We have it under control. And so here again, this is one of those issues where we're going to have to depend upon the superior knowledge of our medical professionals to let us know where we are. We know we have to open the state back up. We know we've got to get these businesses open so that they can earn a living and make money, pay taxes. We know these things have to be done, but they should also be done in such a way that we don't find ourselves ultimately in worse condition than we are at the moment. I think we're making good progress from what I understand. And being a novice and a layman, as far as these issues are concerned, I'm understanding that we're doing well, that the numbers are decreasing, and so on and so forth. But here again, we've got to make good, sound decisions as we proceed. It just can't be politics as usual. That's only going to get us in a bigger mess.
All right. Thanks, Representative DeBerry, for all of your candor and sharing your thoughts on that. Do you want to take a couple minutes here at the end and talk about any other issues, or give a general message to our organization?
Well, I've always tried to work with your organization and your professionals, and as are all the professionals. You know, having been on health, having been on commerce and on finance and children and family, I've dealt with pretty much every medical issue, scope of practice issue over the last 26 years. I have been consistent. I believe that we should continue to improve our health care, our ability to serve the people of the state of Tennessee. But at the same time, I have been one of those who have been very careful, methodical on scope of practice issues, because I believe that there are certain schools, there are certain training, there are certain degrees, there are certain certifications for a reason, and they indicate where a person is in their training and in their professional knowledge. And I would hope that we don't get to the point to where we, in my opinion, and I don't know what your opinion is, but in my opinion, where we make light of the practice of medicine, and that we should keep the practice of medicine strong. We should keep the practice of medicine independent, resilient, so that we can ultimately have good health care. The term doctor has been thrown around much too much in too many different places to where it loses its validity. And I would hope that that's something that we become vigilant about in the future.
That all sounds great. Representative DeBerry, thanks for joining us. I know you were traveling today, so I appreciate you making special time for us. Have a safe trip back and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so very much for letting me participate. Thank you.